Howdy everybody. I don't know if anybody's joining us yet. Not yet. Alright, let's just go ahead and go live. Three, two, one. Right on. Thanks for jumping in. Thanks for joining. And oh man, it looks like I'm not getting to the comments on that side. So we'll see what we can do. But yeah, thanks everybody for joining us in the live. We're going to be taking a look at fire prevention stuff. Some things you may have heard about, some things you may not, some things that might be clever, some things that might be useful. So I think these are great practical gifts since it's that time of year. There's big sales going on, so it's a great time to, let's say, upgrade or revamp your preparedness. So when's the last time you checked your fire extinguishers? That's always a good question, right? We're going to be taking a look at a couple of them. We got a Kitty vehicle fire extinguisher over here. We have a Kitty home fire extinguisher. And then we've got some really small ones from Asboom or Amsboom, kind of a different company that are almost like spray paint cans. So these are a lot different than your standard fire extinguishers that I'm used to growing up, which are like these Kitty versions here. We've got the fire hose gear. We've got a ladder for jumping out of a second floor, third floor. I think they make them all the way up to fifth floor there. And then, of course, we have the blankets. I don't know how many people are familiar with blankets. And then somewhere in here, I'm scrolling through everything on the Amazon. We've got the 2-in-1 carbon monoxide and smoke alarms. Let's start with that. So this is from Kitty. They've been making smoke alarms and monoxide alarms for a long time. And this is both. So this is neat because it has a 10-year battery built in. You just install it like a standard alarm. It's going to fit in, and then it has a 10-year battery built in. It comes with this cover, and this isn't just for shipping. You keep this cover around in a drawer in a closet or something, and you keep one for each extinguisher. And this way, when you're cleaning or painting or doing something that's going to create dust, you can put this over and extend the life and the usefulness of your detectors. So I think that's pretty handy. These are also smart detectors, so you can hook them up to your Bluetooth or to your phone and get information from them and monitor. Kind of cool, you know, everything else is going smart. Might as well have your home detectors and alarms be smart as well. So let's talk about blankets. I'm not seeing comments on the Amazon side, so I apologize if I'm missing any comments over there, but I do see them on the other sides. So fire blankets are really neat. They've usually got a grommet up top here, and then some sort of a hook and loop type of a sack or pouch that they're in with some tabs. And the tabs are attached to the blanket that's inside. That blanket is Kevlar, fiberglass, some sort of a material typically that's fireproof. And the three things that you need for a fire are heat, fuel, and oxygen. So it has to have high enough heat, has to have something to burn, and there has to be oxygen for that heat to burn or that fire to happen. So what this does is it helps smother the oxygen part, and it helps get rid of the heat part. I like that it does that without like a extinguisher spraying anything all around. So these are from Time Apis, and these have real high visibility. These would probably be good for outdoors. Now I like to buy these in a 4-pack all the time. This way you've got them to give as gifts. So keep one, put one near the barbecue, maybe put one in the kitchen, consider one in the workshop. If you've got a vehicle, you might want to put one in the vehicle. Yeah, you might want to buy another 4-pack. So let's take a look at some other stuff on the list here. We've got that ladder in the back here. This is pretty neat. It's in a bag, and then it deploys from the bag. So in other words, you don't need to have this attach to any specific window. Now you can certainly stage it. You can have it as prepared as you want, but it's designed to work from the bag. I won't pull it all out here or anything, but it's all aluminum with heavy nylon, and then it has these kind of handly things, brackets that go around the window. You drop it over and you get an aluminum ladder, basically drops down, and it's a rope ladder but with aluminum rungs. Again, they make these in different I guess lengths. You could say this is a 13-foot. They make them in the 25-foot. Make them in a 5-story, I believe, if you want to get, if you have that tall up a situation. So those are really neat, and that's a great gift idea as well. If you've got somebody, again, in a 2nd story upstairs somewhere, you want to give them an option. Or if you want to put something like this, stage it at the office. A lot of people do those as well. We got our little guest host here. Wanting to make an appearance, I think. He's wondering what I'm doing, looking at everything, pointing at everything. So this is our co-host. He's monitoring everything we're doing here, keeping things going offline. His name is Bacon Bit. You can say hello to him if you want. Alright, so let's take a look at these fire extinguishers that are very inexpensive, small as well. They come with this yellow bracket. I think they all come with them. They may come with or without them, depending on your use. But the bracket has holes and everything. You put that on the wall, or maybe on a piece of equipment, right? Even in a vehicle. But you can mount that, and then it holds the extinguisher, which has a standard extinguisher top with a little pull tab so it doesn't accidentally discharge. And then, but it's like a paint can. So this is unlike a lot of the extinguishers that I've seen thrown up. A lot lighter weight, so it doesn't weigh as much. There's not as much in there, but it also makes it smaller. You can get those in 4-packs, 10-packs, I think, 3-packs. So the next thing we take a look at is that smart smoke detector and carbon monoxide. So there's a two mode detector, and it's also smart, so you can monitor it with your cell phone. All right, next we'll take a look at this kitty. This is a real nice extinguisher. I keep this in the passenger door of the vehicle. Now it does come with a bracket, so if you wanted to mount this someplace, I have another one mounted in the back of the RV, which is mounted, and then that way you can kind of monitor all the time with the gauge here. You also have information on the side about when it was manufactured, so you can, again, when's the last time you checked on your fire extinguishers. So this is a good size, and it's the type that's designed for dry chemicals, so you'd use that in a vehicle. Now I mentioned having a bunch of these around, so the barbecue, the backyard, the workshop, the vehicle, but the kitchen for sure. You may want to have one wherever the hot water heater is or something like that, where you might be doing projects, or like a hobby room. You might want to put one near the barbecue, or if you've got a fireplace, something like that. And then how many people do you know that you care for that have all those places as well? So that's why I buy these things in the 4-packs, and they're all pretty much the same. There's some differences on the type of pull tabs and the size of the blanket. So some of these are a little larger. I might put the larger ones in a kitchen, the smaller ones in the workshop, vice versa, depending on everybody's situation. Now in the back there, kind of for, not too many people are going to have a big fire hose, but for decoration there, we put our fire hose cover. So if you do have a fire hose, you might want to cover it and keep it labeled so that people know what it is, and they don't use it to wash the car, for example, or use it to, I don't know, just clean the driveway or something. So keeping it identified, but also clean, and so people don't accidentally back into it or lean something on it or drape something over it. It's good to identify stuff like that. So now let's take a look at the basic fire extinguisher here. I want to thank the people who are buying stuff. I guess it's showing me over here on the side who's buying stuff, or not who, but when people are buying stuff. So thanks for that. Let's see, this is they call it the 5-in-1, I think, because it can do pretty much all your home stuff. So this is a good one for the kitchen. Now it might be a little small. So, depending on your situation, the size of your stuff you're cooking, the size of your kitchen, your stoves, and that kind of thing, you might want to get either 2 or a larger one. But I think having one in your vehicle is a great idea. But obviously having one around where you're cooking is kind of what I think they invented these little fire extinguishers for in the first place. But then let's get back to gifting these things. So if you've got somebody who you'd like to have one in their vehicle, if you've got somebody like next door where they've got their tools and something, might catch a spark when you're welding or something like that, handy to have in the boat. Think about how often we, have issues in a boat. And while there's water all around, being able to put it out is one thing. Again, getting them in a 4-pack, I think, is a no-brainer. Give them as gifts, and even like I ended up with quite a few 4-packs here. There's a lot of gifting to do. What I like about these is you pull down and you've got your blanket, right? And that's fireproof, so that's going to smother the fire, and it's going to kind of help dissipate, remove the heat so that it goes out. But it does it without all that spray, without water, without chemical, and without a big mess. You're still going to have a mess, but it's not as big a mess as with any of the fire extinguisher options. Really like the blankets. As soon as I don't know when they invented these, how many years ago now, but I pretty much have them everywhere, and I buy them every year to gift. You might be that guy who's giving people practical gifts, and hopefully they never use them, obviously. But so again, thanks for the people that are clicking on stuff. And if you have any questions, I wish I could see them, but I'm not seeing them over here. So we'll kind of just go back through everything. We were looking at the Kitty fire extinguisher or smoke detector and carbon monoxide monitor, which is a smart device with a 10-year battery. So you don't have to change batteries for 10 years, or basically it's a 10-year lifespan, and then you just replace it. You can test it, and then it does come with these covers, so if you're painting or dusting or probably even vacuuming, you could put this on and kind of keep the sensors protected. We had that fire hose cover back there, again, so that people don't use your fire hose for something that's just, might damage it, or they don't cover it. That's the other thing that's nice about having a fire stuff identified. We have the Prepared Hero fire blankets, and these are 39 inches by 39, so a little over 3 feet by 3 feet, designed in the USA. Big grommet on the top, easy to pull tabs. That's a 4-pack of those. Oops. And then that small kitchen or home fire extinguisher, because blankets are great, but they're not going to accomplish everything, and that's where the fire extinguishers still play a role. We've got the these smaller ones. These are about the same size, I guess, but when you feel these, like I say, you're going to kind of feel that some of them have you can tell there's a thicker blanket in them than others. These are a little thinner versions, so I think these would probably be great for literally the kitchen or a hobby room where you probably have less potential for them, but still want to have them available. And then for your vehicles, I think this is a good size extinguisher. Also small enough to keep, like I keep it in the door of the van. You could keep that in the trunk or in the back seat easily. Let's see what else we got. The smaller ones here, so if you do need them like strategically staged around, these are a good size. They're about the size of a can of spray paint. They come with this kind of simple holder that allows it to stay covered, protected, and visible. Pretty easy to see what these are, and no frills. They don't have the gauges like some of the fancier ones, and you're going to want to check and replace these on some kind of a schedule or maintenance schedule. But the price is right, and when everything's on sale right now, it's even better. That retractable ladder, an aluminum ladder with all nylon, has brackets and can kind of go outside the window and let somebody down. Great to stage in an office or any kind of upstairs bedroom or room where people might merge. And then lastly, I can't say enough how much I like the fire blankets. Like I say, I've got multiple 4-packs here. These I think are great for outdoors because they have the high visibility. We do bring these camping. We keep one in each tent when we go camping. Again, getting a 4-pack of them you're definitely going to find uses for these fire blankets. Hopefully you'll never need them, but you'll find uses where to stage them. All right, that was a short and sweet look at some fire and emergency prevention stuff. Well, emergency and fire prevention stuff. Thanks everybody for joining us. Hope this helped. I guess that was about 15 minutes probably on the live side over there. But I figured I had all this stuff out for pictures. I might as well go live. So I don't know if Pack Rat's still out there, but what happened? Oh, it's still. So again, I don't know if you're still out there or not, but about to wrap it up. Thanks for joining in though. And I saw if you had any questions, I didn't see them. Live chat. Nah. Okay, so thanks everybody. We'll see you next time.